Thrift store cowboys, five and dime junkies, red dirt plowboys, asphalt monkeys, old man loaders, signal callers, truck stop angels, back street brawlers, Land St. Ruby's, guitar slangers, hallelujah, gospel singers, freight train models, pistol shooters, my first girlfriend, Ricks and Hooters, beans and biscuits in my cupboard, listen to Ray Wiley Hubbard, all gone down the road tonight. Drunken angels, blacktop racers, all-in rollers, whiskey chasers, Lone Star drinkers, midnight ramblers, dirt road divas, highway gamblers, moonshine mamas,
Hey everybody, welcome back to Backseat Broadcasting again. And this might be a race that you've already watched as we're doing a reshoot today. So we had some technical difficulties on Tuesday evening. Something was messed up with the bit rate, so we're redoing it today. Gonna load it up as a video. So, no excuses with our upload bit rate. Let's take a quick rundown at the practice grid. This is also a good chance because I pretty much missed qualifying on Tuesday as well. Came in about 3 or 4 minutes into it. This is a good one being an open qualifying 15 minutes as well. So a nice full lobby here. We got a whole load of drivers in there. As you can see, about 30 odd drivers. 38 is our number in the lobby. 39. A nice group there, and I think that's part of the reason that our software was having such difficulty on Tuesday. Was there's just a lot of data going on. About 8 programs running at the moment. I cannot show you the points coming up because, unfortunately, that has been updated for the next event, and that will give it all away. But we have our 15 minutes open qualifying coming up, 40 minutes of a race, 40% fuel limit. Mandatory pit stop in there, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And a 17X, I think is a DQ. I think that will earn you a pit lane drive-through. And Kevin San Diego trying to find a little bit of clear track out there. Now I figured during this reshoot might be a good time to get some of these driver names and pictures up there. I'm pretty sure we have one for Mr. Owens. There are about 180 drivers in this race file, though, so it's difficult to find the guy I'm looking for. Hey, there he goes, and he's actually pulling to the inside of the pit straight there. Not a great way to start your lap, I must say. Oh goodness, and there's cars all over the track. That's not a very nice place to hang out, I must admit. 2.5 gone in the practice session so far. Kevin's on the back of somebody he's going to have to start at the back of the stack anyways from his podium finish last weekend. And these guys racing out here is going to mix up the grid a whole lot. Greg Tasso's back here also in some traffic. Daniel Towell, who has parked it somewhere, he will also start at the back of the field. And we finally have some times on the board for us. John Miller currently sitting in second. I believe he has a penalty or a podium penalty, we shall say, to serve today. James Munter down in third at the moment. Steve Zeropo in fourth position. Kenny Teal in fifth, followed by Greg Tasso saying a 146.996, just barely slipping into the sub 147s. David Fendi. Oh, I think I was working on getting your picture together, Dave. And Mason Smotherman up to 7th place, but he got nothing on his brother, who is up to second with a 146.297. Kevin unable to go any faster. Not that it really matters up there anyways. Roman Bykov killing it. John Miller jumping up the standings. Russell Abraham up to 7th. Craig into 5th. By the way, happy birthday late birthday to Craig Ream and Kelly Greenhoe. Hope you all had a good one yesterday. Christopher Owens up to 7th into the top 10. Sam Swan, welcome Sam. I think he's one of our new drivers out there into the top 10 with 146.654. Let's check on David, see if his photo, it's been a cropped one. Okay, I'm gonna fix that in 2 seconds. I also have, I think, Daniel Towell as my software freaks out a little bit. We have 25 drivers on the board already. Good to see Daniel is kind of turning laps out there. Chris Wiley, another new member for us. Welcome, Chris. We have two new Chris's here. We have Chris Wiley and we have Chris Miller. Welcome to you both. Craig Green pushing himself up to 6th with that latest outing. It sounded like something had happened there. And we're approaching just about 10 minutes remaining in our qualifying. Sorry, 5 minutes remaining. Who said 10? And most everybody out on track has picked up. I'm sorry, David. I still got to fix your picture. I didn't realize. Totally forgot about it. So not really waiting on anybody else. We do have a good few drivers in the pits who are here for practice. Woo! And shooting up to the top there, you can see Michael Harney with a 146.1 approaching the sub 146 mark. Kevin has breached it, although she'll start from the back. Actually, now that I think of it, I wonder if it will let him start from the back, because if he grids, it'll just put him on pole position. And so does he have to wait until his time is done and start from the pits automatically? Greg Tassos goes right up to third. There's Steve Zirapo into fourth position. I thought he was going to be a little bit higher out there today. Check and see if that did Daniel's picture. It did not. So a good couple of the top 10. Matthew Smotherman, Paul Langer, Paul Miller, John Miller, James Bunter, all in the pits at the moment, waiting for them to re-emerge here. Craig going through the bus stop. that might have fixed. It did not. It did not fix Daniel's picture. I don't know what's up with that picture you sent me, Daniel. Didn't like my system. Oh, because I spelled your name wrong, that might have something to do with it. And there he is, 0 lap times completed. Michael Harney currently sitting on pole position, I believe, because Kevin is going to have that back of the stack penalty. Christopher Owens just outside of the top 10 at the moment. Chris Miller and David Fendick battling at the back of the stack at the moment. Troy Banks has joined us at the very last minute. See if David's picture has improved. It has, thank goodness. Very good to see out there. If y'all want your picture put up for the broadcast, Eric Alkins through Apex This Race League, you can send them to me there. And we are done with qualifying, although I think these last laps in open qualifying will count. As we see some guys coming across line now, James Bunter just ahead of him. And he's going to go fastest overall with a 1:45.880, a solid 10th above him, above Kevin San Diego. Greg Tassos up to 4th. Steve Zeropo in 5th position at the death here. I don't know if Troy Banks was able to get across that line in time to start one more. Russell's bringing it into the pit lane. Mason's still working on something out there, as is Corey Mitchell, about to wrap up this lap, though it doesn't appear that he's going to be able to do anything about it, especially with a 35-second first sector. I don't think that's going to cut the mustard today. And no pit lane practice at the moment. He's just going to keep it moving out there. Here comes Mason Smotherman. Looks like he is going to practice that pit lane entrance. Daniel Towell retreats to the pit lane, and thank goodness we have nobody else on track at the moment. I think we're going to be able to change gears here in just a second, running down the grid whenever we hop into our next session. Why not look at the race info while we got it? It's 93 degrees out there. No real wind to speak of. Here are some pit lane starters. We are still in open qualifying. These guys are just hanging out in the pit lane. It sure would be cool if on Tuesdays everyone would just, you know, get out of the session as soon as you finish your qualifying. You very much would appreciate it. You would have to hear me talk a whole lot less. So we have James Bunter on pole position out of nowhere on the very last lap, 105 degrees on track there. Greg Tassos joining us next to Michael Harney. So as always, make sure you hit that thumbs down button. Don't tell all your friends. Unsubscribe. And this guy, this track marshal right here, this flag guy, doing a great job of not looking at the cameras, which is so very difficult for all these motorsport professionals. So a nice looking grid to get us rolling here. We have Carlos Lopez Jr., birthday boy Kelly in the back, Justin Rector, Andrew Rasmussen, Kent Kruger, Sean Giroux on track next to him. So a good grid of guys who did not join us. Daniel Towell starting from the back. John Miller starting from the back. And we're ready to start moving these cars out front. All right, we're finally up to week 5 and the scrolling schedule at the bottom. And Barber next week, I can't wait. Barber is always going to be a good one. All sorts of weird art to distract you in that one. Lots of very tricky technical corners, lots of elevation changes. Should be a good one next week. That one was always pretty good. In the Miatas, I think we've only run it once before. And great sight is we have 33 drivers on track at the moment. A couple guys who have to start from the pits because they decided to grid. Looks like there are a couple more cars in the back there. I can't quite see who they are. But for the rest of the stack, they're coming around now. Oh, that's right. We have a Sebring coming up. And I think we're probably ending on Daytona yet again. Probably in the middle of the night, so that I can't see what I'm talking about. Oh good, it cut off, so I don't have to do a night race. That's music to my ears, admins. Thanks for cutting off the script there. we're going to focus back at the top of the stack. See James Bunter there all by himself on the front row, actually. And that should promote Greg Tassos into a pretty handy position. And we are off here at Watkins Glen. James getting a good jump there on the rest of everybody else, coming down to turn 1 now. And everybody seems to make it through pretty well. Oh, except for Kenny Teal, who spins it on turn 1. James leading the way. Little bit of almost side-to-side action coming down the straights for the first time. Troy Banks here battling with Doug Doucette just behind him. May not stay that way for very long, though, as we come through the bus stop for the first time. It's James Bunter from Greg Tassos, Michael Harney, Matthew Smotherman, Roman Bykoff in 5th place there. Steve Ziropo has lost one on the jump. Craig's doing pretty well. Sam Swan up 3 positions to 8th. Vincent Wood behind them, also having a pretty good start there as he goes around the outside. He's going to probably pick up another one if he can hold on to it to the tip of the boot here. He has to pull out of that one. John Miller making a couple, make that 7th through the pack already in the opening lap. Although I think everybody was given a freebie from Kevin San Diego having to start from the pit lane, which he has done, and he is in the back at the moment. Troy Banks under some more pressure here from Doug Doucette behind, who takes to the inside. And getting a little shovey out there. Oh, excuse me, I'm trying to focus on poor Mr. Kelly, who gets a early birthday dump. And wow, Chris Miller getting past Brian Frick there pretty easily. Just a simple move to the inside. Looked like it was going to be catastrophic there for a moment. There's Andrew Rasmussen trying to line something up with Brian Frick just ahead of him. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off this time. And there was Doug Doucette defending from Daniel Towell, who's up 11 places already, storming through the midfield. Great little midfield pack going on there, just full of guys. A little battle going on back here. Ooh, as Andrew Rasmussen is able to take that away. Excuse me, that was Justin Rector. It looked like getting into the back of Brian Frick and making it past while he was at it. And there's Daniel putting Troy under some pressure and giving him a little tap and sending him wide. And that did seem a little strange to me. Stop moving around, timing tower. Was a very strange sort of incident there, as Daniel really Didn't want to give him any space, wanted to be on the racing line. And that makes me regret a little bit. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. I hate these damn replay files. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, you. Okay, I know how to get this back. We will get it. We will get it. We have to go back a session. No, I don't want to go back to practice, but thank you very much. That's very sweet of you. We're going to go a couple laps in with Mr. Towell and never go back to any sort of incident again, because I forgot how much that sucks. Because it is a replay file. Here is the incident we were just watching with Troy Banks, and they have that little touch at the beginning of lap 3. And back up top, I know it's not quite as exciting. James Bunter still leading from Greg Tassos. And not really able to get away from him. I think those long straights are really keeping Greg in touch with him at the moment, although the gap is about 0.8 at the moment. And just right in the thick of the action here. Oh, it looked like Craig Ream going off track back there as he gets a little loose, getting back on the accelerator. So that's going to be a freebie for Chris Owens up into the top 10. And that's Ty Johnson trying to be the latest person to make up a spot on Craig Ream. They have a little tap there. Craig holds to the inside. Ty with so much speed through there. I thought he was going to go off. And still side by side. Craig gives it up eventually, but he's got Daniel Towell and John Miller just on his backside here. Daniel may be trying for another move. Daniel most certainly giving everybody lots of room this side. Craig did not want to go anywhere near that apex. And that's Craig going side by side with Ty just ahead of these guys. He's going to get it to the inside. Daniel thinks he might be able to follow them through. He's not. And John with a real messy entrance to the bus stop there. Lost a bit of speed on these guys. But I think it'll be pretty easy to get back mixing with them. And over a second is the gap up front, just about a second. It seemed like Greg had excellent drive out of there. Daniel making his way past Ty Johnson. And now Craig is leading this low pack. Here's Carlos Lopez Jr. and David Fendick towards the back. Carlos going around the outside there. Troy Banks and Andrew Rasmussen. Andrew to the inside. And Troy has not loved his time on the inside. Mason Smotherman, saw this the other night. I didn't know what had happened to this, but some serious issues here that are going to take him into the pits. Chris Wiley just about giving him no room on the inside there, saying that's the drive out of there you're going to get. View from Troy Banks just behind these two as they race down the straights. Side by side through the bus stop. Oh! Oh, and that's Chris Wiley with a big accident off the grass there. I would rewind it, but this thing never knows the difference between you know, the end of the race and where we just left off. So I don't want to really go back to too many of these incidents, although there were some peculiar ones. Might do my best after the racing is finished to go back and check some of these out. And Paul Langer getting one done there on Sam Swan. Vincent Wood also coming through. Vincent's having, both of these guys having a great race, but Vincent having a better one so far. Steve Zirapo getting overtaken by Chris Owens into T1. Steve's not going to give that up too easily. Russell Abraham just on the bumper of these guys. And side by side we're going through. And Steve Zirbo just about holding on there. They're still almost side by side. As Christopher Owens, has to get out of it. Now Russell's looking for... Oh, and we had a big incident here. Oh, heavens. As these guys just keep on coming right through. And it looked like whoever that white car was, I can't really see, maybe David Fendick cutting back across the nose of Chris Miller when it wasn't the best moment to do so. And as a result, those guys spinning out just ahead of Kelly, who was trying to make a move there. Here we see Russell Abraham to the inside of Daniel Towell, who's coming through. He's not in fourth. We just had 3 cars jump to the pit lane, and for some weird reason, they crossed the line before these guys. These are your leaders in James Bunter and Greg Tassos here. Greg still staying within about half a second of them. Staying close. 2 by 2 as we leave the boot here. Oh, the ants are still all marching. Good to see. Great pack of cars here, just ahead of Jonathan Cooper. That's what you want to see when you're racing out here. With 10 minutes down already, we're in a great little fight. All these cars on track, and despite being in, 20th, 16th. Oh, as he comes real deep in there, Jonathan is going to tag the back of who is that? Sorry, we're with Jonathan Cooper. That's Ty Johnson just ahead of him. And albeit he was racing for about 19th and 16th place there, but it's the good racing is happening back here as Kevin Sandiego also trying his way through the field. He's got Corey Mitchell to his right-hand side. And they're going to make it through, and he gives Corey a little tap, and Corey goes spinning off. And luckily keeps it out of the wall. Kevin's going to keep moving down the road. So I don't know if there were no protests or if I just forgot to upload the replay file to the Google Drive the other night because I was so concerned figuring out what the heck happened with my streaming software. Steve getting real out of shape on that final turn. He's got John Miller and Russell Abraham just ahead. Going side by side with him, almost making it 3 wide. Russell's going to make his way through. John is not quite going to squeak through in turn 1, but he's in great position for the long straight to come. He's gonna take that inside line early and see if he can't force Steve to that outside, which he's done wonderfully there. He should get it through, although Russell cuts back over to the racing line, giving Steve the slipstream again. John's going to make it through. Craig Reeve just behind him now. Ty Jones followed by Jonathan Cooper, Russell Elizondo, and Troy Banks. Troy's going to get through or retain that position into the bus stop. of the straights here is Craig Tassos, although I don't think he's really fighting it that hard. He seems to slip back 3 or 4 tenths throughout the lap, and then he's able to make up a lot of that time on the straights, of course. Great long draft there, and it brings him nice up and close. 17 minutes on the board. We should see some drivers coming into the pits in just a moment. there, gang. I'm back here. Sorry about that. Somebody was yelling at me like the house was on fire. Spoiler alert, it wasn't on fire. Believe that. It's Jonathan Cooper staying just ahead of Kevin San Diego. We have a nice little battle going on up here. John Miller in the back of this little tray. He's got Vincent Wood and Roman Bykov, and teammate Daniel Towell just leading this little quad. So it appears I missed all the pit stops, but take a quick peek at them right now. So yeah, some of these guys down into the 13s. As you can see, John Miller doing 13 seconds. He's had a lot of draft time. Been hearing him pull in that clutch a couple times as well. Conserve a little bit of fuel. Trying to get past Vincent Wood here. He's also having a great race. Up 7 positions. Daniel's gained 24, John 22 here. Tommy Regan with a little off track there, didn't seem to slow him down at all. Here we go, John Miller trying to make a move to the inside of Vincent Wood. And he's gotten one down. Back up top after the pit stops with 10 minutes to go. 1.2, 1.3 the gap. Kevin still trying to make that move on Jonathan Cooper. And his race a little messed up since he had to start from the pits. Here comes John Miller to the inside of Roman Bykov on turn 1. He gets it done. Justin's going to try his luck here. He really sends it in there, and Tommy almost getting the switchback move on him there. But got a little concerned. Justin almost parked it on the apex. Brian Frick on Sean Giroux to the inside. Justin holding on to that one. Sean's going to have to try his luck again here, coming down the straights. And sending it. Beautiful, just barely keeping it on the road there, as he almost had some serious snap oversteer coming out of the bus stop. Was able to lasso it. And that gap for the lead has come down to 0.6 here as we have 9 minutes to race. Sorry, 9, what am I thinking? 7 minutes to race. Numbers, are numbers even important in racing? I often have been feeling like I look at so many numbers on this side of the screen, always changing it. I'm starting to get dyslexic with the numbers. I also notice I do that a lot when I'm playing poker. I'm getting dyslexic with my poker hands. I've been just taking a quick glance and messing up jacks and sevens all the time. For some weird reason, my brain sees them the same as Roman Bykov, staying ahead of Vincent Wood there. Paul Langer is getting interested behind them. And then the two teammates, and John Miller and Daniel Towell, getting down the road. Here is Ty Johnson trying to move on Roman Bykov, just barely to the outside. Roman very brave to stay there, but Ty might have the insight to the next one, and he's already gotten the move done. Paul Langer watching it go down, waiting for his moment. Here is Justin Rector, who has come off track. Let's rewind it a little bit to see what had happened. And that's Tommy Regan to his outside there, and Justin just should have gotten out of that one. And it looks like Tommy's probably able to keep going down the road. Unfortunate for Justin as he ends up in the wall. That was not his moment, though, it must be said. And Paul almost sending it down to the heel of the boot. And 5.5 to run here. The lead is starting to close up. A couple little battles starting to form on track here. Here's Craig Ream on the back of Troy Banks and Andrew Rasmussen. Kevin Sandiego still fighting to get ahead of Jonathan Cooper. A little bit further back, we have Kent Kruger, who's up 17 positions this race. Great turnaround. It says 17 on my screen, it says 16 on yours for some weird reason. And that is the moment that Kevin's going to slide on through. John Miller getting some speed on his teammate there. And something happened to Troy Banks in T1 as looks like Craig Ream has been able to get through. Paul, little tag to the back of Roman there, a very loaded up corner. Both of them able to keep it on the black stuff. And that battle for the lead really coming down through the boot section now even. This is not a draft induced at all. 4 minutes to run here. My calculation, that should give us just about 3 more laps to run coming across the line now, doing 1:47s. So 3 laps to go here at Watkins Glen in the Ferrari 488 EVOs. Poor Steve Zerbo, we did not get to see what had happened to him, but he's sitting all the way back here in 24th position. Having started on the 3rd row, I believe. Roman Bykov getting himself into an interesting position here with Paul Langer. And the bus stop here is just such a cool one. It's amazing that there are actually different lines you can take through there. Paul almost trying it to the inside there. He's not going to get it done now though. But it almost seems like sometimes that inside line just keeps the whole bus stop straighter. You know, like you're just taking the straightest route through it, just eating those curbs as much as possible. Of course, on the racing line is supposed to be the best way to go as Kent Kruger gets that move done on Russell, who's forced into the grass on the infield. Paul just about giving Roman a little giddy up tap there. Less than 2 minutes on the board. Here are your leaders coming down these straights. And coming up on some lap traffic, there's David Fendig being really nice and getting out of the way of these two leaders. Here's Roman Bikoff as they come down the straights. Oh, and Roman getting a little wide on the right-hander. It's going to allow Paul to close up a touch. And this is where Paul has felt he's really strong. Here on these big loaded up corners. Greg still sticking to the back of Andrew Rasmussen there. These two teammates still sticking together. I was about to say Roman Bikoff holding on there, but then he's got a big off track. He's getting a little loose all over the road. These guys approaching the finish line. We're going to have one more lap out here as I expected with 7 seconds remaining. And here we are starting that final lap. Let's watch what happens with the lead of the race here as these guys coming down the pit straight. Or not the pit straight, the back straight here. And he appears a little bit too far back to make any sort of move. But they are coming up on some lap traffic here, which could really come into effect. That's Corey Mitchell just off in the distance there, 1.3 away from Greg Tassos. Here we go through the bus stop one final time. Roman's going to hold off for the time being. Back with the leaders, Greg Tassos on the rear bumper. They've caught right up to Corey Mitchell as he's got to get out of the way now. Greg almost with a little oversteer, able to arrest it. And both of them heading to the inside. Getting away with it. This will be his last real moment to do anything about it. James looks to have the speed on him though. And that should be how they will finish. Here's Christopher Owens making a last-minute ditch to the outside of Paul Langer. It's not going to work this time. Steve Ziripo and Brian Frick, it looks like, going through the bus stop one final time and making contact on their way through. Christopher Owens in 9th place at the moment will finish in the top 10. What a great race we had out there. Really solid stuff from everybody. Thank you guys for showing up for this one. Good to have such a huge grid. And they're going to find a nice, pretty spot to take their podium pictures. Congratulations, James Bunter, Greg Tastos, and Matthew Smotherman. Actually, have a few more drivers still on track, amazingly, who have not found that finish line. Let's bring up those race results for you. Now that we have everyone across the track, it was James Bunter from pole position to the win. Greg Tassos almost got it from him at the end. Matthew Smotherman slipping up into the podium positions. John Miller, Daniel Towell must have given up towards the end there. So John's in fourth, followed by Vincent Wood, Roman Bykoff, Michael Harney, Paul Langer, Christopher Owens, and Russell Abraham completes the top 10 there. Kevin Sandiego climbed up to 11th, followed by Jonathan Cooper, Andrew Rasmussen, Craig Green, Troy Banks, Tommy Regan, Carlos Lopez Jr. Kent Kruger had a pretty good race out there, up to 18th position. Russell Elizondo, Steve Zirapo, unfortunately down at 20th. Brian Frick was followed by Sean Giroux, Sam Swan, Daniel Towell. Ditched out at the end, Corey Mitchell, Dan Fendick, Chris Miller, and I don't know if he will actually complete the points with us here. But let's take a look at the updated point standings now that we have them. I guess I should probably send those points over to the program. There we go. All right, up top, we can't see who adjusted in the standings because these are old stats from Tuesday, but 320 points up top. Matthew Smotherman leading the way by John Miller, and Greg Tassos having a great finish there. Puts him in third. Jonathan Cooper just outside the top 10. We'll keep him in fourth place. Daniel Towell, despite that retirement, we'll put him in fifth. Man, what a good one we had yet again. Of course, make sure you smash that thumbs down button. Don't forget to unsubscribe. Hit that bell an even number of times. We'll see you actually right back here this evening with the Supercars to wrap up our time at Watkins Glen. We'll see you then, everybody. Take it easy.